毕业后，小区门口就
A sweet-looking girl prepared 200 pounds of oranges and 40 pounds of watermelon to set up a juice stand. As the weather got hotter and the sun stronger, she took out sunscreen and started applying it to her arms. Then she started promoting skincare products right there at the stall. Another pretty young woman was seen quickly preparing freshly squeezed lemon juice. A poetic voiceover played in the background. Who isn't tired? Who doesn't suffer? We can only rely on ourselves. People online commented, wondering if even street vending has become this competitive. One person asked the blogger, "I want to sell milk tea too, but how do you handle the water situation? Don't you have to wash the cup after every drink?" Someone replied, "You think they're street vendors, but actually they're influencers. Their real job is doing live streams." A popular saying is going around in China. We're all trying hard to live, running street stalls. The phrase has become a trend on both social media and in city streets. As the US-China trade war drags on, China's street vending economy has suddenly exploded, not just in a few places, but all over the country. Experts say that Chinese companies are struggling to offer discounts big enough to offset tariffs, and many small factories are shutting down. At the same time, Trump canceled the small package tariff exemption. If that cancellation becomes permanent, it could trigger another wave of factory closures in just 3 months. That could force nearly 10 million newly unemployed people to flood into street vending. As the economy declines, many industries are shrinking into low-cost street vending. Many young, attractive women who lost their jobs have turned to running stalls to make a living. This shift happens to match male consumers' habits of buying from roadside stalls. Some online observers pointed out that the customers of these female vendors are almost all men. But it's not always smooth sailing. One woman in Hefei, Anhui Province, recently faced unfair treatment, and her story quickly gained attention online. One day, she went to set up her stall, only to find that 4 trash bins had been placed in her spot. She approached the local officer to ask what happened, but he claimed that it was always a designated area for trash bins. Then she showed proof that she had just paid a 300 yuan fee for that spot, but the officer denied ever receiving the money. Worse, he brought in over a dozen enforcement officers to block her stall so no customers could buy from her, leaving her feeling helpless and wronged. Just then, a female enforcement officer approached. The vendor hoped that, as a fellow woman, she might be more understanding, but to her surprise, the officer ordered her team to push the trash bins even closer to her stall. Furious, she posted the video online. Locals quickly showed support for her. That same night, the officer who had bullied her earlier came back to her stall and threatened her, telling her to delete the video or face trouble. But she felt she had done nothing wrong and refused to take it down. Fearing retaliation, she started recording everything on her way home. The next morning, she woke up to find all her videos had been taken down. But many people online have a negative view of China's rapidly growing street vending economy. Some complain that vendors have gotten out of control. They take over both sides of two-way roads, leaving no room for traffic. It's seriously affecting people's daily commute. One person said, "There's a family downstairs from us that drives a Mercedes. Every day they block the entrance of our residential complex just to set up a street stall, and the things they sell are more expensive than in regular stores." With street vending booming again, traffic in already crowded cities is getting worse. Vendors tend to move around and target subway entrances or busy intersections. Some even block off car lanes and zebra crossings, especially during rush hour. At night, shouting fills the streets and smoke fills the air. After the vendors leave, the ground is often covered with trash. As more stalls pop up, residents are getting frustrated. Some even call the vendors barnacles of the city. Once they attach, you can't get rid of them. There's also growing concern that these vendors are forcing small restaurants out of business, and when those restaurants shut down, they may end up going back to the streets to sell food again, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Our channel has taken you into the heart of this issue, showing how vendors, city residents, and struggling business owners are all caught in a tug-of-war under China's slowing economy. We also uncover some of the hidden rules behind the street vending boom. One restaurant owner said, "These vendors are getting out of hand. Look, from over there all the way to here, they've completely blocked my storefront. Everyone's just trying to make a living, but at least I pay rent. I run 2 restaurants, and the monthly rent is around 20 to 30,000 yuan. I just want to ask, is it fair for them to surround my store like this?" A content creator pointed out that an entire food street shut down last year. 8 restaurants closed because they couldn't compete with street vendors. He added, "They wear revealing clothes, push carts around, dance while selling, and they blocked our emergency fire exits for 2 whole years." Some people online have also raised food safety concerns. These vendors operate without health inspections, and their food isn't regulated. You'd think prices would be cheap, but that's not always the case. One guy paid 47 yuan for a bowl of snail noodles with a few pieces of meat. Another person said, "They make more money than I do, and their food is dirtier than restaurant food. I saw an auntie selling potatoes with a dog under her cart. She kept petting the dog, didn't wash her hands, and used those same hands to serve food, and her prices weren't even cheap." So why are street vendors beating out small restaurants that have proper storefronts, better environments, and more hygienic setups? It comes down to 4 key advantages that these vendors have, things small restaurants struggle to compete with. 1. Location. Street vendors understand the power of a good spot. If they see another vendor doing well somewhere, they'll follow and set up nearby. Every day, they're thinking about where to go that night to get the best foot traffic. Small restaurants, on the other hand, are stuck in one place, and if foot traffic shifts because a shopping area loses popularity, they're in trouble. Take one pedestrian street in Zhongshan, for example. It used to be busy, but now people prefer going to newer shopping centers that have parking, air conditioning, and indoor comfort. Vendors can move to where the crowds go. Restaurant owners can't. Once the flow of people changes, those fixed location stores struggle to survive under high rent, and many end up closing. 2. Getting there first. Street vendors operate like guerrilla fighters. They grab space at subway exits, busy intersections, and mall entrances, all high-traffic spots. In tough times, whoever reaches the customer first wins. If a vendor can offer a deal and grab your attention early, they'll get your money before you even reach a proper restaurant. These days, with the economy so weak and vendors lining every street, even a beautifully decorated restaurant might not get customers. By the time people get to the restaurant, they've already spent their money on snacks from vendors. 3. Storytelling. Vendors know how to talk. They get close to people and start chatting with them. They'll say things like, "I don't make much profit," or "It's so hard for regular folks to make a living." Some might add, "My son wants to take swimming lessons, and I'm just trying to save up to pay for his classes." People online joke that many vendors have a gambling father, a sick mother, a younger brother in school, and a 2-year-old kid to feed. Some vendors are even professional performers. One video showed a pretty woman at a stall, but her real job was live streaming. While striking poses, she says things like, "Who did I seduce?" Someone else commented, "The grill is cold and the sausages look like plastic, but if you actually try to buy one, she'll flip out." Those are props for her video. Number 4. Grabbing attention. We live in the era of short videos. People are bombarded with information every day. Getting noticed has become a fierce competition. Vendors who understand how to attract attention, whether through storytelling, humor, or eye-catching appearances, have the upper hand. For some street vendors, just posing and attracting attention isn't enough. To sell their products, some dress up as the Monkey King, and others, especially young men, dance even harder than the girls. But the next morning, residents wake up to find that all the vendors left behind was a pile of trash outside their homes. One resident complained, "It's dirty, it's noisy, it smells bad, and it's like this every single day. In the morning, we can't even get out of the building. Our electric scooters can't move." There used to be a big wet market nearby, but now nobody goes there. Everyone crowds into this area at night instead. These vendors don't pay any stall fees. They don't clean up their trash. Fights break out almost every day over who gets what spot. The shouting and loudspeakers start at 6 in the morning and go on until past 10 at night. Then the late night vendors come out, and it doesn't quiet down until around 2 in the morning. The biggest problem with these mobile food vendors is food safety. Many don't eat their own food, and ingredients that don't get sold are often just thrown away. Over time, they formed a kind of cutthroat strategy that's been wiping out regular restaurants. One person filming a video warned, "Don't ever eat at these places. Look at this fried chicken and mushrooms. It's the same oil that they use during the day. And look at this again. Honestly, this might be worse than gutter oil. And over here, look at that fish cake stand. You can't smell it through the screen, but it stinks. It's disgusting. Please don't eat it." Some of these food stalls set up right outside school gates. Parents are deeply worried. What kind of harm could this food be doing to their kids? One video shows a group of kids rushing across the street after school, heading straight to a vendor selling spicy Korean noodles. Someone familiar with the area said, "There's a rumor that the most popular vendor outside the school might actually have a child studying there too, so the owner probably does care. But still, it's worrying. How is he making money from that?" Some people say, "Just look at how the students rush to those stalls. It tells you everything about what kind of food they're getting at school." Some even argue that street vendors may be better than school cafeterias. Others believe the Chinese government is turning a blind eye to the surge in street vending because it fears that rising unemployment could lead to widespread unrest. By allowing vendors to operate freely, authorities may be trying to ease public tension. But it's not as easy as setting up a table on the street. Experienced vendors have warned that there are unspoken rules in the vending world, and ignoring them can get you into serious trouble. One first-time vendor shared their story. They thought setting up at a free street stall zone was simple. The entire street had been officially designated as a free vending area, so they casually picked a spot. What they didn't know was that even in free zones, each spot usually has an unofficial owner. It's a known rule among vendors, even though it's never written down. Because they weren't aware of this rule, they nearly got into a fight. For newcomers, it's essential to start at the very end of the street and slowly move forward over time, only when other vendors give up their spots. Since each stall often supports someone's livelihood, no one gives up space easily. That's why disputes between vendors and even with police aren't uncommon. And even when you follow the rules, that doesn't mean you'll be treated fairly. One person finally got a decent spot, only to have it taken away by someone who refused to back down. Attitudes towards vendors also vary by location in China. In some cities, law enforcement act like bullies. Another new vendor shared their regret. They impulsively spent over 10,000 yuan setting up a basic stall, only to have 0 customers on their first night. They said, "I nearly lost my mind." Someone else commented, "I tried selling spicy skewers 3 days ago. Day 1, 220 yuan. Day 2, 105 yuan. Day 3, 32 yuan. I gave up. I just don't have the energy anymore." One more wrote, "I was thinking of trying it, but after reading all your stories, I've totally lost confidence." Some experienced vendors have shared advice. If you're just starting out, keep your costs low. Don't invest too much in the beginning. One person said they started a small spicy snack stall with only a few hundred yuan. Many others in the comments said they're also thinking about becoming street vendors. One person wrote, "I'm divorced. I'm scared that working a regular job won't be enough to raise my child. I can't afford to open a shop. I want to try setting up a stall." As the wave of unemployment grows, more and more young women with flawless makeup and attractive looks are joining the street vending scene. One video showed a girl working a stall, and people online said she clearly supports her whole family. Life is really hard. In another video, 2 attractive women in Jinhua, Zhejiang, were live streaming from their stall. Their business was booming, and they were frequently asked for their WeChat contacts. A person filming the video said one of the women noticed him and insisted that if he uploaded the clip, he must use the original camera without any beauty filters. People online remarked, "These women are doing everything they can just to get by. They're really giving it their all." As China's economy continues to slide and unemployment rises, a new trend appeared this May Day holiday: travel vending. Many young people are now mixing tourism with street vending, using it as a way to fund their trips. According to Sanxiang Metropolitan Daily, a curious trend appeared on the streets of Changsha during the May Day holiday. Young travelers were visiting tourist sites like Orange Isle and Yuelu Mountain during the day and setting up stalls at night. They rented equipment through Alipay's Zhima leasing service. Some students rented exoskeleton gear to sell grilled sausages. A young photographer rented a camera to offer street photography. Music lovers rented instruments and speakers, playing and singing songs requested by tourists. One young man said, "Selling while traveling helps me cover my travel costs." According to a NetEase blogger, topics like how to set up a traveling vending stall and mobile coffee truck tutorials are gaining traction on Chinese social media. Faced with a tough job market and unaffordable housing, Gen Z is increasingly turning to this blend of street vending and travel as a form of light entrepreneurship. On May 2nd, the topic hit 160 million views and climbed to the 2nd spot on Weibo's trending list. Many people online have shared their thoughts on this new trend of vending while traveling. Some said, "It's a creative way to make money, but once too many people do it, it won't be profitable anymore." Others asked, "Where can you set up a stall without paying fees? What happens when city management officers show up?" And some were even more blunt. "This shows how broke young people are, and it also shows how serious unemployment has become. People are only doing this to survive." Now let's take a look at some of the more unusual and quirky examples of street vending by ordinary people in China. In one video, viewers were amazed by a vendor whose cart had absolutely everything. If a customer walked up and asked, "Do you have?" the vendor would immediately answer, "Yes, yes, yes, I've got it all." One person joked, if the police come and say stalls aren't allowed here, the boss might correct them and say, "Sorry, it's night markets that are banned." Another said, "This guy is a one-man food street. I'd love to see this kind of setup in real life." In another clip, a person with social anxiety tried setting up a stall for the first time, in the middle of a dark, empty grove at night. The only light came from their little cart, glowing orange in the dark, while they quietly called out to sell pig organs. Viewers joked that hearing someone whispering heart, liver, lungs, and tongue in the middle of the night felt like a scene from a horror movie. Others commented that while the US and China are locked in a trade war, vendors and city enforcement officers in China have been fighting their own never-ending battle. This chaotic and booming street vending scene, to some, reflects the Chinese government's failure to handle the broader economic downturn triggered by the trade war.